Light waves. What is light? The term light, electromagnetic waves, and radiation are all words that describe electromagnetic energy. Electromagnetic energy travels in waves. The sun is a source of electromagnetic energy that we rely on as a source of energy for our planet. We use different forms of electromagnetic energy in everyday life. A cell phone, a television, and a microwave oven all require electromagnetic energy to work. Electromagnetic waves can be large or small, and the entire range of wavelengths is called the electromagnetic spectrum. The electromagnetic spectrum: radio, microwave, infrared, visible, ultraviolet, X-ray, gamma ray. Visible light. The small portion of the electromagnetic spectrum that we can detect with our eyes is called visible light. There are special cells in our eyes that can detect the wavelengths of visible light. Within this visible range, the different wavelengths of light appear to us as different colors. Red light has the longest wavelength for visible light, and violet light has the shortest wavelength of visible light. When all the wavelengths of visible light are combined, as they are in sunlight, visible light appears white. Electromagnetic waves do not require a medium. Recall that mechanical waves, like water waves or sound waves, must travel through a medium. The energy of the mechanical wave causes particles of the medium to vibrate, transferring energy from one particle to another. Sound waves cannot travel in the vacuum of space. Electromagnetic waves are different from mechanical waves because they do not need a medium to travel through. These waves are generated at a source, like the sun or a light bulb, and involve changing magnetic and electric fields. Electromagnetic waves can travel through the vacuum of space, and they can also travel through solids, liquids, and gases. Modeling light waves. Light can be modeled as particles or as transverse waves. We can use a particle model that shows light particles called photons. When we model light as a wave, we can model light as a ray and as wave fronts. We can also use a simple mathematical model for light waves. Modeling light waves. Ray model. Particle model. A light beam can be modeled as a ray, or a light beam can be modeled as a beam of photons. Wave fronts model. Mathematical model, intensity versus distance. Wave fronts moving away from a source of light. A simple mathematical model for a light wave. As you observed in videos in the Explore lesson, when traveling in a vacuum or in a medium, a beam of light travels in straight line paths. The path of light can be changed when it interacts with matter as it moves from one medium to another. Light wave characteristics. We can describe electromagnetic waves by comparing the characteristics that all waves share: wavelength, frequency, and amplitude. The wavelength of a light wave is the distance between two identical adjacent points of the wave for one complete wave cycle. Wavelengths of electromagnetic waves range from longer than a soccer field to shorter than the diameter of an atom. The number of waves that pass a fixed point in a given amount of time is the frequency of the wave. The amplitude of a light wave in the mathematical model is the distance from the rest position to a crest or from the rest position to a trough. The amplitude of a light wave is related to how bright the light appears. Stop and check. How are light waves and mechanical waves similar? How are they different? What is visible light? What are some ways that we can model light waves? Light wave behavior. In the vacuum of space, light can travel approximately 1,086,000 miles in 1 second. Light travels in straight lines in all directions from a source until it comes into contact with matter. In this subunit, you have explored 3 ways that light waves behave when they interact with matter: reflection, transmission, and absorption. Transmission. Transmission of light occurs when light passes through matter. The light from the sun travels through the vacuum of space and transmits through the gases in our atmosphere. Light traveling through the air can transmit through water or glass. The diagram shows wave fronts transmitting through a new medium, represented by the rectangle. Transmission of light waves. When light transmits from one medium to a different medium, the direction of the wave can change. You can see evidence of this change when looking at a pencil in a glass of water. This change of direction when a wave moves from one medium to another is called refraction. This occurs because the speed of the light wave changes when it moves from one medium to another. Multiple behaviors of the light wave are seen in the diagram that follows. Refracted light descends into the water, blue area of the diagram, while reflected light moves upward into the air. Refraction of light moving from air to water. Absorption is the process of transferring light energy into matter. When light interacts with matter, light energy can be converted into a different type of energy. The conversion of light energy into thermal energy is common. When this happens, light energy causes the atoms and molecules to vibrate and move more quickly. As the particles of matter move more quickly, the object becomes hotter. In the Explore lesson, you watched a video that shows what happens when white light hits a red apple. All wavelengths of visible light are absorbed by the apple, except for the wavelengths of light that are red. Absorption of light waves. Reflection. Reflection of light occurs when light hits matter and bounces back from the surface. When we see the color of an object, our eyes are detecting the wavelengths of light that have reflected off of the surface of that object. For example, an object that appears yellow is reflecting wavelengths of light that are yellow. The yellow object absorbs the other colors of white light that it hit it. Notice that the angle of the incoming light is equal to the angle of the reflected light. The angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. Reflection of light waves. When light reflects off of an object that has a very smooth surface, like a mirror, we can see a reflection. When light is reflected from a rough surface, the waves of light are reflected in many different directions, so a reflection does not form. In the image that follows, the red leaves on the tree are reflecting red light and absorbing other colors. Our eyes detect this red light. The green leaves on the tree are reflecting green light that our eyes detected. The smooth surface of the water shows a reflection of the trees. Stop and check. What happens when a light wave is reflected by matter? What happens when a light wave is transmitted by matter? What happens when a light wave is absorbed by matter? Brightness and color. The brightness of light is determined by the intensity of the light waves. If you compare two light waves with the same wavelength, the light waves with a higher amplitude are more intense, or brighter, and transfer more energy than waves with smaller amplitude in a specified period of time. Light wave B has a greater amplitude than light wave A, so light wave B transfers more energy and will produce a light that is brighter than light wave A in a specified amount of time. Light wave A, intensity versus distance. Light wave A, intensity versus distance. Electromagnetic waves with higher frequency, shorter wavelengths, transmit more energy than waves with lower frequency, longer wavelengths, in a given period of time. In the range of visible light, the frequency of the light waves is related to a color. A blue light wave has higher frequency than an orange light wave. Lower frequency, higher frequency. Stop and check. How is amplitude related to light? How is frequency related to visible light? Draw a simple mathematical model to represent red light waves and green light waves that are the same amplitude. Which wave transmits more energy in a given period of time? Explain. Draw a simple mathematical model to represent a bright red light compared to a dim red light. Which light transmits more energy in a given amount of time? Explain.